Hello everyone, today I'm sharing 25 turn-based 4X games for you, and just to be clear, I didn't include Stellaris since it's a real time with post 4X. But don't worry, there are still plenty of great games here. The ranking is based on my personal preference, so feel free to share your opinion in the comments and let me know if I missed any good ones. So without further ado, let's get into it. Starting off, we have Master of Magic. It's a faithful remake of the original, keeping its classic design while adding modern quality of life improvements. It feels more enjoyable than the old version for returning players, but still stays very traditional. Fans of the original will likely appreciate it, while players from games like Age of Wonders or Fallen Enchantress should expect a different style and focus. Next up is Galactic Civilizations IV. Builds on the familiar formula of the series, where you expand from a small start, colonize planets, and grow your fleets over time. Many returning players feel it doesn't push far beyond the previous game, but for newcomers, it offers a satisfying and easy to follow entry into turn-based 4X strategy. Aggressors Ancient Rome feels like a classic civilization-style game set in the Mediterranean around 282 BC, but more stripped down. It removes many extra systems and focuses on tightly connected mechanics. Population and economy play a major role, and survival depends on how well you manage them, though some important details can be easy to miss in the interface. Interstellar Space Genesis feels like a modern take on Master of Orion II, often seen as MOO 2022 edition. It keeps the classic formula but adds new ideas that fit well together. While combat is weaker, the overall design works smoothly, making it a strong successor that captures the spirit of Master of Orion with a more updated feel. Field of Glory Empires leans more toward grand strategy than a typical 4X, though it shares familiar elements. Fans of Civilization or Paradox-style games will adapt quickly. Nations, leaders, and populations feel distinct, and each faction, from Rome to Carthage or tribal cultures, offers different playstyles, making each campaign feel fresh and worth revisiting. Entering top 20, Imperium Greek Wars is a historical 4X strategy game set in ancient Greece, combining civilization-style turn-based gameplay with deeper systems similar to Crusader Kings. It builds on Aggressor Ancient Rome with improved mechanics, including army supply and a strong economy. The visuals are basic, but the systems are solid, supported by capable AI and a more grounded, realistic approach. Moving on to Master of Orion. It's a modern take on Master of Orion 2 with some ideas from the unfinished third game. It feels familiar but not identical. Compared to Stellaris or Endless Space 2, it's easier to learn with a cleaner interface and strong tutorials. The core gameplay works well, but bugs and rough edges make mods and the unofficial code patch almost necessary. Humankind presents a vibrant and lively world, standing out visually compared to Civilization VI. It runs smoothly with fast turns even late game, and features a capable AI and stable multiplayer. While it lacks the polish of a fully expanded Civ 6 and can feel tiring later on, it shows clear potential and works well as a strong alternative, especially over vanilla Civ 6.
mercy!
Fallen Enchantress Legendary Heroes blends ideas from Civilization and Heroes of Might and Magic, mixing city building with hero exploration and quest-driven progression. It plays like a classic Fantasy 4X similar to Master of Magic with strong faction customization. It lacks multiplayer but remains an engaging and well-supported single-player strategy title. Heroes of Science and Fiction is a turn-based strategy game that closely follows the style of classic Heroes of Might and Magic 3, but with a sci-fi setting. It features charming cartoon visuals, smooth performance, and familiar controls. With creative factions, a light sense of humor, and a fun campaign, it feels like a modern take on a well-known formula. Entering the top 15, we got Galactic Civilization III. Stands out in the 4X genre by focusing more on building an engaging world rather than overwhelming players with harsh systems. While many space strategy games can feel punishing and overly calculated, this one keeps things more accessible and enjoyable. With the Crusade expansion, it improves significantly, fixing earlier issues and making the overall game feel more complete. Like many 4X titles, it grows stronger over time and remains one of the well-known names in the genre. Then we have Warhammer 40k Gladius Relics of War. Plays like a Civilization-style strategy game, stripped of diplomacy, where constant war replaces trade and alliances. Set in a grim dark world, it puts you in control during a brutal Xenos invasion, with factions like Necrons standing out as especially powerful. Combat feels relentless, with large-scale assaults and city destruction at the center. It lacks the polish and variety of games like Civ 5 or Anno 1800, but if you enjoy pure warfare and the Warhammer setting, it can be strong and satisfying pick, especially on sale with DLCs. Next is SpellForce Conquest of Eo. Shift away from the RTS style of earlier entries and focuses on turn-based gameplay. It shares some elements with Age of Wonders and Fallen Enchantress, but with its own structure built around a single moving tower. Exploration plays a big role as you relocate your tower, gather resources. Battles are solid and require careful planning. With procedurally generated maps and plenty to do, it easily creates the one more turn pull despite limited setup options.
Going? We going?
Endless Legend 2 builds on what made the first game strong, with improved visuals, smoother performance, and more engaging quests. Amplitude keeps a familiar core while adding new ideas like dynamic map changes with monsoons and tides. Even in early access, the 5 available factions feel varied and interesting. It may feel overwhelming at first for new players, but it becomes enjoyable over time. Fans of the original will find a lot to like, especially with its fresh mechanics and multiplayer potential. Shadow Empire is a sci-fi 4X war game that feels closer to classic titles than modern formula-driven games like Civilization or Stellaris. It drops you into a harsh world where logistics drive everything, and even small disruption can collapse an entire campaign. The visuals and interface are rough, but the systems are rich and rewarding once you understood. Despite its complexity, the basics are surprisingly approachable with the right guidance. It blends elements of Dwarf Fortress, Rimworld, and Alpha Centauri, delivering a challenging and highly addictive strategy game built by a veteran developer.
Fire in the hole! Yes,
sir.
Moving on to number 10. Age of Wonders Planetfall is closer to Heroes of Might and Magic, Total War, and Warcraft 3 than Civilization, focusing less on empire building and more on large-scale tactical battles. It offers complex combat with systems like flanking, moral, status effect, and Overwatch, which can feel overwhelming at first, especially since the tutorial explains very little. Compared to XCOM, it trades cinematic, high-impact moments for bigger battle where you may control up to 24 units. The visuals are solid, though animation feels double A level, and most players speed through combat anyway. It suits players who want challenging turn-based battles with many systems to learn. Then we have ZEPHON, builds on the foundation of Warhammer 40k Gladius and pushes it further with a smoother pace and stronger quality of life features. It keeps the heavy combat focus but adds light diplomacy, giving battles more variety and shifting alliances. The atmosphere stands out with strong art and a memorable soundtrack, while its strange, dark sci-fi world adds a unique flavor. The game is easy to get into, especially for newcomers to 4X, but still rewards planning and adaptability. Whether playing solo or with friends, it quickly becomes the kind of strategy game you keep coming back to for more matches. Next up is Scythe Digital Edition. Sits in a rare spot where a board game translation actually works, keeping the original feel while removing the usual setup hassle. It stays close to the tabletop version but handles scoring and rules automatically, making sessions smoother. Once you understand the basics, it opens up into a highly strategic flow focused on faction abilities, player mats, and efficient combos. There's a noticeable learning curve, but tutorials and guides help ease that. It suits both board game fans who avoided the physical version and PC strategy players who enjoy planning ahead and executing clean, satisfying turns. Online play is stable, and overall, it often feels even more convenient than the original. Songs of Conquest is a strong homage to Heroes of Might and Magic, but it does more than just copy the formula. You control a wielder, a magic user who leads armies and grows through flexible skill choices, while the magic system adds a fresh layer without being hard to learn. The pixel art looks excellent and the campaigns are engaging without dragging on too long. Compared to classic Heroes of Might and Magic, it feels more refined, with changes like limited unit stacks and gradual town control, keeping things balanced. It captures the addictive one more turn feeling similar to Civilization V, making it easy to sink hours into improving builds and strategies. Old World is a turn-based strategy game that blends ideas from Civilization and Crusader Kings into a more focused ancient era setting. It sits between the accessibility of Scythe and the complexity of Paradox titles, with a learning curve that takes time but feels rewarding once understood. Compared to something like Hearts of Iron, it's still far easier to approach. The design feels thoughtful and refined, giving long-time Scythe players a familiar yet improved structure. Ongoing expansion and balance updates show strong developer support, helping it stand out as a modern strategy title that many players see as a potential cult classic. Entering top 5, we have Endless Space 2. It's a turn-based 4X strategy game that follows the style of classic like Master of Orion 2 while offering a more modern feel similar to Stellaris. It features familiar systems such as building up planets, growing population, and focusing on resources like industry, dust, science, and influence. The presentations stand out with strong art direction and music, while each faction offers different playstyles rather than simple reskins. Space battles look decent, though ground combat remains limited, which is common in the genre. With rich lore, a unique tech circle system, and ongoing community-driven improvements, even years after release, it remains a polished and engaging choice for fans of space strategy. Endless Legend feels like a blend of ideas from Civilization, Total War, and Age of Wonders, but it doesn't try to copy any of them. It builds on its own identity through a mix of fantasy and sci-fi set on dying world of Auriga, where harsh winters create constant pressure. The combat system is unusual, using planned order and initiative rather than direct control, which can feel frustrating at first but becomes rewarding once understood. What really stands out is the faction design and the variety of victory path, giving more options than just conquest. Compared to Endless Legend 2, many still favor this one for its richer content and stronger atmosphere built over years of expansions. Then we have the one and only Age of Wonders 4. It's widely considered one of the strongest 4X strategy game available, especially if you enjoy a mix of empire building and tactical battles. It feels like Meier's Civilizations VI blended with fantasy elements like magic, dragons, and custom races. The game gives you full control to create unique factions, from strange creatures to engineered societies, and shape how they evolve over time. Role-playing also plays a big part, with choices that affect how your rulers act and how the worlds react. What keeps it engaging is the huge variety of options, making each campaign feel fresh even after many hours. While it may feel slightly simpler than earlier entries, it remains a highly addictive and imaginative strategy game. Moving on to the genre-defining series, Heroes of Might and Magic Olden Era is an early access title that clearly aims to bring back the classic feel of the series, especially for fans of Heroes 2, 3, and 5. It captures the familiar loop of map exploration, town building, and army battles, while adding small modern touches to keep it from feeling outdated. The game feels like it was made by people who truly understand what made the older titles work, rather than trying to reinvent them. It leans heavily into nostalgia, but still managed to stand on its own with a mix of old and new ideas. It's not perfect yet, but it already delivers that one more turn feeling many players have been missing for years. And finally, we come to the GOAT of the genre, Meier's Civilizations VI. It's one of those games that didn't hit hard at first, especially if you came from Civilization V, which still feels smoother and more polished. But over time, Civ 6 grows on you. The district system changes how you build cities, pushing you to spread everything across the map and think more about terrain. It leans more into planning and micromanagement compared to 5. With added content, game modes, and updates over the years, it feels more complete now. It may not replace Civ 5 for everyone, but it stands out as a solid, modern entry, and for many players, it became the one they keep coming back to. It is hard to not mention Sid Meier's Alpha Centauri, since the game is seen as spiritual follow-up to Civilization, set on a hostile alien world where you lead a faction of survivors. Available on Steam as the planetary pack with Alien Crossfire, it adds more faction and content. Even today, its atmosphere and AI still hold up, often compared favorably to Civilization 6.
Production complete.
Master of Orion 2 is often called a legend for a reason. Released in 1996, it still holds up with strong design, smooth gameplay, and a solid balance that keeps it engaging for hours. Even today, many 4X games struggle to match its features and replay value, making it a title that remains highly relevant decades later. And that wraps up the list. Hope you enjoy it. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to subscribe for more strategy game content.